Have you ever wondered where the milk in your Frosted Flakes came from? Or that big bowl of ice cream that you like to eat? It's hard to imagine a life without dairy products so readily available. But without the ever-advancing dairy industry, we would all know what it was like 100 years ago when you couldn't just go to your local supermarket and buy a gallon of milk. Hi, I'm Larry Gandy, and today I'd like to talk to you about the dairy industry. We're going to start with the two most popular breeds of cattle used in the dairy industry today. We're going to move on to the mechanics or the hands-on parts of collecting the milk, and finally we'll talk about transportation. The two most popular breeds in the dairy industry today are that of the Holstein and that of the Jersey. Comparing these breeds is like comparing apples to oranges. A recent University of Illinois newsletter recently listed a lot of these differences. One being that the fat content that is naturally produced in the Holstein cattle is about 3.57%, whereas Jersey cattle are much higher, 4.55%. That's important to those folks that are out there trying to watch their waistline. Another difference would be that on average, Holsteins produce 700 pounds more annually than that of Jersey cattle with similar food consumption cost. However, there's I read a website article from proconmilk.org that stated that there is a shift in popularity and marketplace value of Holstein cattle due to their higher percent milk content. For a long time, the Holstein has reigned supreme over the dairy industry, but it looks like that might be changing. Next, I'd like to talk to you about some of the more mechanical or hands-on parts of collecting milk. Now, within every dairy parlor, there's 5 basic components that make up the process of collecting the milk. One would be a vacuum pump, and a vacuum pump does exactly what you would think it would do. It provides a suction to express the milk from the cow. There's a pulsator system, and when you walk into any dairy parlor, you'll hear a ch-ch-ch-ch sound, and that is basically just interrupting the suction, and it's basically simulating, the hand of expressing the milk. Thirdly, being the milking claw is the apparatus that you actually attach to the udder of the cattle that expresses the milk. Fourthly, being the piping system inside the dairy barn that moves the milk from the cow to the holding tank, and fifth being the holding tank, which will keep the milk at 39 degrees until it's ready for pickup. Now, there's 3 different types of barns that I've researched. First, the newest and greatest thing is the carousel barn, and that's basically where the cows get on one side of the barn and the floor actually rotates around from milk station or from cleaning station to inspection to milking to exit. Now, the barns that I used to work in, which I thought this was awesome back in the day, was a double barn where you had cows on each side, and each cow had its own milking station with its own milking claw, and it made life just absolutely excellent. Now, when I learned on was a swinging barn, which you had a set of claws that hung down the middle of the barn, and you just swung them from side to side, and it took forever, but you got the job done eventually. Now that we know a little bit about the milking process, let's talk about one of the most important processes there is, and that's transportation. Now, every 24 to 48 hours, the milk truck is going to come to the dairy, depending on the amount of milk that you produce. Less, he would maybe come every 2 days. More, he's going to come every day. So he's going to come, the milk driver's going to take a sample, make sure the milk is free of contamination, make sure that it's at 39 degrees. He's then going to pump the milk from the tank to his truck. He's going to take it to the processing station where it's going to go through its pasteurization and homogenization process. It's going to be packaged, it's going to be shipped, and it's going to go to your supermarket as whole milk, skim milk, 2%, ice cream, sour cream, whatever you can think of, all the way down to coffee creamer. That's what you're going to get. Every facet of the dairy industry, from the cattle to the feed, from the cattle to the milking to the transportation, they all have to work in concert in order for us to get a high quality product. So what have we covered today? We have covered the 2 most popular breeds, the Holstein and the Jersey. We've talked about the milking process, and we've talked about transportation. So you think about this the next time you're eating those Frosted Flakes.